So, 3 points. The first one, Washington does have a red flag law. We have an extreme risk protection order law. Already the state passed the law through a 2016 ballot initiative with nearly 70% of the vote. There is a federal framework for a red flag law that was laid out in June of 2021. So it was under the Obama administration, not the Trump administration. Third.
2021.
2021. Just last year.
During the Biden administration.
This is an article from NPR.
Okay.
The department, and it's from June 7th, 2021. The Department of Justice on Monday issued model legislation from which states can craft their own extreme risk protection orders, commonly referred to as red flag laws, as part of the Biden administration's ongoing effort to curb U.S. gun violence.
This was the point I was going to get at earlier. I remembered now. I don't like the fact that this framework business, right? We're going to give you a template to work off of because we can't pass this at the federal level because it would be unconstitutional. But if we give it to you and we tell you what you want or what we want, then you'll go ahead and do it. National Propaganda Report. Thank you, Bilbo Swaggins. That's a perfect term for that. That's exactly what this is. This is insane. How does anybody not see this? People have disagreements with their fucking neighbors all the goddamn time about where they put up a fucking fence. I mean, and that shit, I've been on those situations. That was my former line of work, man. Property rights. You would be surprised how many people will sink $50,000 to $75,000 into a legal battle about getting a extra foot of land so they can put up their fucking fence.
Let me do you one better.
Please.
Let me do you one better.
Please.
I know somebody right now, right? I know someone who I got to be kind of very vague about it. So person A is the person that I know. They live near person B. Person B alleged with zero evidence that person A struck them with their vehicle and is now dragging them to court with zero evidence. With not only zero evidence, but actually evidence to the counter in favor of person A. They're still suing them for alleging them that they've struck them with their vehicle.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk after the show, but because I can't figure that one out myself.
Bitch. Yes. So if someone will lie to the state to tell them that you have hit them with your car when you have not, they will absolutely turn you in when they hear you say some sus shit. I have videos on my phone of me standing in my yard practicing draws and shit for my pistol belt. I go on walks in my plate carrier. There's nothing to say that someone could not hear this show, see me do that, and then say, that motherfucker's going to do something. He says he's part of the militia, he's going to do something.
Yep.
Right? Here's a great example of that. Very controversial. You guys can believe what you want. I've heard this story from multiple different sides. I don't trust the powers that be, so my stance on it is my stance on it. Bilbo Swaggins. It said about 6-7 years ago, NPR actually reported good info. Then 2016 happened. 100%. I used to fuck with NPR heavy in my car because it was just a good, like, decent shit. It was decent. First time I heard them do
TDS
a fucking equal payday, it was like, you lost me now. It was like 2018. I was like, we're talking equal payday. I'm out of here. I'm not going to be a part of this conversation.
Once the I'm not going to call it mainstream. Once the corporate press fully got engrossed in TDS, it was over. And then everybody went woke. And then everything was unlistenable at that point. It was unwatchable, it was unreadable, it was unlistenable. It was everything. It was terrible. But before Trump came along, it was halfway decent from a left perspective. Yeah. It was a good left-wing perspective that you can get that was still somewhat rational.
Right.
And it's a travesty that the fucking Daily these days, man. Remember the Daily used to be halfway decent? Like not that long ago? Yeah. It didn't take them long.
So I have two articles here before we move on to my example. I have two other articles here, one from The Hill and one from the Washington Post, both opinion articles about the potential consequences of red flag laws, right? So it's only within the last few years that this is the answer, that's become the prominent ideology. This first one from The Hill is from 2019, and this one from the Washington Post, which they made sure to tell me with a big ribbon at the top that this article was published more than 3 years ago. Well, it's an opinion article. If you've changed your opinion that much in 3 years on red flag laws, then you might be kind of a shill.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have reported it.
And they're both red flag laws can have deadly consequences is the first one, and that's from The Hill. That's from Washington Post. The second one is red flag laws and their awful consequences. That's from The Hill. So right? The example that I would draw, the easiest one that I would draw, is not only the man that we saw last year or just a few months ago. I cannot remember his name. Amir Locke, maybe? Is that?
I don't.
I'm going to Google it right now because I'm fairly certain that that's his name. Let's see. Amir Locke. Let's see.
I bet you if you
Yes,
describe
killed
the
in
case, I'll
Minneapolis
remember.
police raid. Yes. Who is Amir Locke? 22 years old at the time of death. Police claimed at the time he was brandishing a gun when they entered the residence. CBS reported Locke's family told Nakeem Levy Strong. Yes. Yep, that's him. Okay, so Amir Locke was killed a few months ago. We went over that here on the show. The other example that I want to bring up happened a few years ago, and was a young man named Duncan Lemp.
Duncan Lemp. Oh my God, we talked about this
many times on the show before, and it got even hairier than I believed that it did when I first started digging into it. So the story from Duncan Lemp's, let's talk from the police story first,
okay.
Right? Is that the police say that Duncan Lemp was admittedly part of a militia, and he was preparing to do battle with the police because he expected them to do a raid on his house. He was manufacturing firearms and he was selling them, and the police say that they then issued a red flag on him because he wasn't supposed to have firearms and did. And when they went to his house, they weren't wearing body cams like they're supposed to. And supposedly he had one of the doors rigged in his house with a shotgun shell, and they went to one window and broke the window open, which woke him up. And he then started to walk the house and look for a gun when they're yelling orders at him. And then they also, at the same time, hit his front door with a battering ram, and they enter his home through the front door. When the officers in his window see him try and grab a gun, apparently, allegedly, he aims the gun at the officer, in which they shoot him 5 times. So the story from Duncan Lemp's family and his pregnant girlfriend who's pregnant at the time, is that he was shot in his bed through the wall of the house while he's in bed with his pregnant girlfriend. So believe what you will. There is no body cam footage. There is no proof of anything. There's one set of body cam footage that the body cam was turned on after the raid happened.
Oh, of course.
So even though there's a law in that state in which they're supposed to wear body armor or body camera. So this article is from it's from the American Conservative. Let's pick a different one.
Bilbo, hold on to that because we will definitely get there.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. So this one is actually from the Washington Post. So, and I can't send this. Well, I can send it to you, but you won't be able to see it because you have to subscribe to them. But I can read it. A Maryland SWAT officer will not be charged in the fatal shooting of 21-year-old Duncan Lemp during a pre-dawn weapons raid in Potomac that became part of the nationwide debate over no-knock warrants. Prosecutors said in a 17-page report released Thursday. This is a no-knock warrant to serve because of a red flag law to go and get his guns. The Montgomery Police Department was legally justified when he fired 5 rounds at Lemp through a broken bedroom window in March because prosecutors said Lemp had ignored commands to raise his hands, gotten out of bed, grabbed an assault-style rifle, and pointed it towards the officer. Let me ask you, if you are woken out of your bed and people are screaming at you and you're already in, call it justified or not, if you are, let's be
Extra steel Manny.
Yes. If you are in a distorted viewpoint in which you believe the government is out to get you, and you wake up and you're hearing people yell at you, is your first reaction not going to be to grab a firearm? Are you going to listen to the voices that are coming at you, that are screaming at you while your pregnant girlfriend is in the bed next to you? Or is your first instinct going to be to try and defend yourself? If you already believe the government is coming after you, in which they know that because that's in their report, right? They're saying that he's saying these things on the internet. So you already know that. Right? So the solution then, when we think that you have assault-style weapons, when we believe that your house is booby-trapped, is to go to your house, and scream at you and wake you up. That's the right move.
Yeah.
That's the safest way to apprehend you, right? Is to do that. Not to use and I'm not advocating for this, right? Not to use our infinite resources underneath the Patriot Act to literally spy on you anywhere that you fucking go and track you to a store and wait by your car or wait till you get out and just say, hey, let's fucking talk for a minute and then fucking arrest him, right? That's definitely not the safest way to do it, right? Not at all. The safest way is to go to his house, wake him up, and then shoot him because he's so fucking disoriented with what's going on and his brain is so distorted. Again, Steelman, his brain and his viewpoint is so distorted that he believes the government is coming to get him. That's the safest way, right?
That's definitely the worst way possible to handle that situation, and it seems to be standard operating procedure from everything we've seen from every single no-knock warrant served over the last, I don't know, since we've been watching them. Do you not have a reasonable expectation of privacy within the walls of your own private home. For anybody to be woken up
Not even
in
your
a
parents'
startling manner by people screaming around your house and screaming at you and wake you up from a dead sleep, because it's always when these no-knock warrants are served are in the middle of the night because everybody's asleep, right? That's the safest time to do that. When people can make real rational fucking decisions as soon as they wake up and come out of their fucking REM sleep when they don't even understand what up and down is yet, then yeah, you should definitely scream and yell at them, because no sane person in their right mind is going to have the instinctual reaction to grab a firearm in an attempt to defend themselves and their family from a obviously hostile force that is screaming at them from outside their home. That is not a natural reaction even in the slightest, correct? I don't know a single person. We know some real woke motherfuckers. I don't know a single woke person that wouldn't think that that is an insane train of logic to follow. Period. Every leftist argument about police engagement stems from a soft approach, because that is the most de-escalatory way to have that interaction with a private citizen from a law enforcement standpoint.
Unless you have scary guns and you say you're part of a militia, Colin.
Yeah. And even then
we can't trust you. We have to murder you in your house. That's the only way.
That's the only way you can do it. And that's the only, and that is so many problems here. So many fucking problems here. But the fact that the state feels like that's the way to do things is fucked up enough. The fact that they don't care about infringing on any of your rights while they do this is also another problem. The most simple and, dare I say, common sense approach to this is not going in there screaming and yelling like a goddamn barbarian on fucking full tilt ready to pull the trigger. Ever. How is this ever the right decision? I have been in law enforcement. I understand from a federal law enforcement standpoint, like the threat pyramid, how you go from, the base level to deadly force. The deadly force pyramid, I think is what they call it, it's taught to every federal law enforcement officer how you handle that situation. And that's why you always want to handle things at the lowest level. Calm, controlled. It's the only way to be productive about this situation. Because you're hemming somebody up, period. The very last thing you need to do is to arbitrarily escalate the situation, guns a-blazing, because that only ends bad every single fucking time.